So iDubbbz made a video called Coming Clean. And the first comment on this video that I saw, let me see if it's still there. He's deleting comments. Okay, I'm not seeing it, but one of the comments that I saw was like, this is going to pay people's rent for months. And what I want us to think about when we watch this video is if you rise to such prominence that people talking about you pays their rent, Ethan Klein, hello. Are you a good person? You know, and I mean that in like a sort of like contemplative way, you know. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brittany. It's time to do philosophy through pop culture. And I've been thinking about this because one of the feedback I've gotten back from my viewers and everyone else, and I do this full time, is that I'm not controversial enough for people to react to because I just have like pretty level-headed reactions. Thank you. But then I wonder, yeah, if I don't want to be people's like rent maker or rent payer, what do you have to do to be that? What do you have to do to be the person that when people put you in a thumbnail, people watch? Like iDubbbz, right? Like iDubbbz makes a video and people are like already going for it. It's like he's covering his Anissa relationship, controversies that have been, said about him. He's basically debunking what people have said about him. But in order for iDubbbz to have gotten to the point where he is this person, he also had to rise to prominence in the past. Now, I know his viewers have told me that even though Brittany thinks of iDubbbz as the N-word person, that's not only who he was. Apparently you guys liked him for other reasons, but I never watched him. So I only knew him as that guy. And then I only knew him as the guy who collabed with Ethan to do Content Cop. And then now I only know him as the guy who apologized and tried to make amends, which is good. And he's the guy who's dating Anissa, and then Anissa is the girl who's on OF, and now I know him as the guy who's beefing with Ethan. So I don't watch iDubbbz. All my years on YouTube, I never watched iDubbbz like that, but I used to watch Ethan. I loved H3. Once I think a lot of us started watching Ethan when his lawsuit was happening originally with copyright. That was when I started watching Ethan. And then obviously I think we all fell off around the same time, or maybe, as everything was unfolding the last few years. But what I'm trying to convey to you is that I think what we can do here is ask ourselves, especially if you're a content creator watching this, why am I somebody who pays somebody's rent, and am I proud of that? Am I proud that I'm so controversial that when people put me in a thumbnail or anything like that, they basically will pay their rent off my name? And how do I feel about that? That's what I want us to ask ourselves. Okay, because obviously, now this also coincides with the podcast I just put out. Please go check it out over on the podcast channel. Links in the description, and I'll add it to the comment sections. I talked about this with Brooke Schofield and Trisha Paytas. Their borderline did not make them a bad person. Their values did. Like Brooke's borderline didn't tell her to tweet out those horrible things about Trayvon Martin. Okay. Like Trisha's borderline wasn't the reason she was on the internet doing blackface. Like borderline doesn't make you do blackface. That's your values. Okay. And so I think, again, there's this conversation about like, what is my mental health and what is my values? What is my ignorance and what is my values? And ignorance and values, staying ignorant is a value statement, So, okay, let's watch with all of that in mind. Here we go.
I don't know if this is your own theory or if it's just like implanted in your brain from all the other hate videos. There was never a bonus. I never spoke to these losers without a bonus. If you're going to be a hater ass bitch, take it the full way.
Oh, damn. You said hater ass bitch. Okay, I'm ready.
By the way, the background is a work in progress, so you can just tune that out. Today, I'm going to be doing the thing that everyone tells you not to do, and that is feed the trolls. One of the more important things that I want to talk about is my relationship with Anissa. I love Anissa. I love everything about her. I've only grown to love her more with time.
Oh, gross. I'm just kidding. I'm married too. Just kidding. I love. We love to hear someone doting about their spouse.
And a lot of people online don't see it that way. For me, it's very obvious. I thought more people would be able to catch on. I am quiet, stoic, not talkative. She is the opposite of that. She is loud, very talkative, social. People struggle to understand that dynamic, I think, especially me being a person who has made a career of talking online. So yes, Anissa will oftentimes, like in many relationships, be the more talkative one. We've been together for nearly 10 years, and all of it has been online for the public to see. And there are still people accusing her of cheating, accusing me of being in an abusive relationship. None of this is true, and there is no evidence.
Chad said it's misogyny. Oh, yeah. I think that ultimately is always the answer. It's misogyny. Look, I don't know Anissa. I don't know iDubbbz like that. Ian, is that his name? Ian? I don't know them like that. But every time I see a criticism of Anissa, it just feels like misogyny.
For any of this, except like, I guess, body language experts coming on and being like, iDubbbz is being
Boo.
stoic here, therefore he's in hell.
Okay, hang on. Watch the change there. Watch the change there.
I don't know what the fuck that was. I have never gotten.
Look at Ian in this moment. Oh my God.
Like, he looks sad. No, he is disgusted at her. He's depressed.
Oh God. Listen, I do this too when I watch people. I'm like, oh, I see a little change there. And it might indicate something, but it might not. I'm just an autistic girly with a little pattern. I can just recognize the pattern. But body language experts, boo. People trying to read people's thoughts, boo. Okay, people trying to speak, especially if Ian's neurodivergent. Oh, nothing pisses me off more than when people try to review my videos in the small, rare chances that it happens. And people are like, oh, this is what Brittany was thinking here. Please stop trying to read my face. You have not been able to read my face since I was literally a child. And like, from one autistic girly to maybe many of you, you're so wrong about what you're seeing. Now, if you know something about neurodivergency, maybe you'd be able to tell what we're saying. But this idea of reading his mind is crazy, right? Discord said, isn't he just processing? Yeah, literally. Like, he's just probably processing information, right? Crazy. Chat says, how do you know what is going on in people's heads? People are neurodivergent or just act differently based off culture bubble. Exactly. Chat says, this guy was an Andy Worski. He was in the real Ethan Ralph Club of Nazis. Andy Worski, I haven't heard that name in a really long time. Is that person even on the internet still? Wasn't he here on the internet like 2010 or something? God, I haven't heard that name in so long. But that's kind of, not that I knew a lot about iDubbbz, but that's kind of what I thought of iDubbbz, I think, is like a trolly white guy who kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's some, now interestingly enough, you know, I made that video about Repsion, who kind of went crazy and weird on Ian the other day, and about Anissa's relationship with Ian. And people were telling me that they used to be a part of Repsion's Discord, and there was like a lot of Nazi stuff and stuff like that. Listen, I don't know what kind of Discord y'all are running, but you know what I'm saying? These white boys on the internet do have a tendency. I don't know why everyone loves white supremacy so much. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I do not know why y'all love white supremacy so much. You know what I mean? So I think there's something there that's probably how I saw Ian, is I just assumed he was another white guy that thought Nazi humor was funny, I guess. You know, but I don't know how deep it went. But if Repsion also had Nazi stuff on his Discord, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
He's so disgusted.
Working on.
He looks disgusted with this.
He looks so uncomfortable. He's like, should I be here? He looks so uncomfortable. Look at this guy's body language. He doesn't want to be there.
Look how.
Oh, I'm sorry. People can't have anxiety. Anxiety. You know what I mean? What? Oh, people can't be anxious?
Miserable he looks. Dude, he looks miserable. Dude, he looks like he wants to kill himself.
I mean, I kind of want to kill myself now. Okay, so
Me too.
not a fan of the resting bitch face. All right, well, I'm not going to smile all the time, fellas. And even when I smile, you guys still like contort it into he's so uncomfortable or he's smiling through the pain.
Burn.
Oh, he's so uncomfortable. He's smiling on his face.
What?
But inside his eyes, you can see his pain.
For some reason, well, not for some reason, for the reason of sexism and people's view on OnlyFans and them just not liking Anissa, they want to push forward a narrative that she is actively and continually cheating on me. And if you listen to freaks like this guy I'm about to show, it makes sense why.
Is it Repsion? Because Repsion made a crazy video. You know what's crazy? Repsion made this crazy video about Ian. And look, I reviewed Repsion because my Discord was like, hey, Britt, have you seen this latest video from Repsion? And I was like, this boy has lost it. This boy needs therapy. I'm just going to say it with a capital T, therapy. But he went for iDubbbz's relationships, and he was in a toxic, abusive relationship. And then he makes a follow-up video talking about talking to his toxic ex again for the sake of like, it was the craziest video. You know what I mean? Is that who he's going to show?
Obsessed.
Anissa wants to have.
No, this is Worski. Oh, chat. That's why you said Worski. That's him. This guy, this dude on the right, that's him. Oh shit, I didn't even recognize him until I just saw his eyes, and then I got it. Now I got it.
Sex into having sex with Anissa. I think he wants to bang Anissa. Anissa was horny and wanted to have sex with this therapist. Well, Anissa figured herself to it.
Yep. Do you think that makes her pussy wet?
Buddy, was she getting plowed?
That's what I'm saying.
What we're describing here is two grown men who are fantasizing about a stranger and his wife and what they do in the bedroom. or don't do in the bedroom. That is creepy weirdo shit.
I don't think the internet knows how inappropriate they're being. And I know that I have made videos that I try really hard, because I know we all talk about each other's lives. I try really hard to be considerate about when I'm commenting about people's lives. But okay, let's just go on an autistic rant for a second. I understand that as an autistic person, I tend to give and it really is my autism. I've decided that I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because I know that I appreciate it when people give me the benefit of the doubt, because I don't have ill intentions, but the road to hell is paved in good intentions. So we also have to hold ourselves accountable. So I understand that when I talk about people on the internet, I am open to being corrected. I make corrections all the time, even if I think like, maybe I'm still right and maybe they will show up in a few years. I don't want to speak for people. But I also think there's a way to do it within reason, right? Like there's a way for us to review TV shows. There's a way for us to review content that says, oh, this is what I think might be happening, but maybe I don't know, because using real people's lives to learn about our own is really, really helpful. But I also think there's just a side of the internet that is so wrong about their assessments, they can't handle it. I remember seeing Reddit posts about my marriage on who's Reddit, of course, Debate Bros Reddit, and years ago being like, oh, Brittany's gonna get divorced, there's no way she even lasts a year, da 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 da. Like, they don't understand me to begin with, but like, I don't blame them for being so uneducated that they think that's the conclusion, because in their life that would probably happen to them, right? But they don't know me enough to know that I'm not about to get married unless I'm really sure. And also, getting a divorce isn't the worst thing in the world. It happens. You're not a bad person. The only time you're a bad person, guys, is when you're abusing somebody, and you know what I mean? You got to get the work done. You got to be accountable. But you're not a bad person because your relationship ends. You're not a bad person because you get divorced. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like this narrative that like, oh my God, they got divorced. Okay. But also, the only thing we want to avoid being is abusive and a bad people. You're not avoiding a breakup. Do you know what I mean? It's just like one of those narratives that I don't think people understand. And so, yeah, when they view you on the internet in your relationship, they only can see the negative because they feel the negative for themselves. It's like when Destiny said to Ethan, or to the audience, every YouTuber you know is a horrible person behind closed doors. Yeah, that's not about us. That's about him and his people. And I don't know about Ian. I don't know if Ian's a good person behind closed doors, right? But I know I am. So I can't be alone in this. I know lots of people are good people outside of their jobs. So I know I'm not alone in this. And I know you're a good person outside of your job. So why wouldn't other streamers be good people outside of their jobs? But the fact that Destiny thinks, oh yeah, we're all bad people. Don't let these liberal men convince you that we are like them. Ain't no way.
Here we have iDubbbz with the bull, folks. There's iDubbbz with the bull.
He's using sexualized terms to describe a picture of me and my dog. And what are we doing? So many people will tell Anissa and I of just like, don't feed into the hate. And it's like, okay, we're going to post some normal stuff. Anissa posts just me with a picture of my dog, and this is the type of commentary we get about it.
iDubbbz with the bull. Gorgeous Gabe Plowder in the back room of the salon. 3-hour bukkake session with all of the male stylists.
If you're curious about the hairdresser these guys are talking about, I will point you to my disgraced boxing coach, Michael Briggs. For some reason, this stupid fucking loser and his dumb as rocks wife decided to go on the H3 podcast. They already spilled their guts. They were getting paid like $5,000 to go on this podcast.
I'm going to be sending you guys $5,000 for the bonus that you never got.
I think they were maybe afraid that they wouldn't get the money if they didn't thoroughly trash us. So them maybe thinking that they weren't trashing us hard enough, Michael Briggs decided to invoke the name of one of his presumably friends and say that Anissa was like thirsting after him.
She definitely had a big crush on one of the guys that would come in and spar with them, because anytime they would spar, she would just be super into it and watch every moment. Yeah, even if he would like beat Ian up, she'd be very into it.
For whatever it's worth,
I didn't watch that interview. I skipped that whole section. I really try not to watch Ethan's streams unless I absolutely have to. So when that happened, I just absolutely avoided it. I had no context for them talking.
Every time Michael Briggs, my disgraced boxing coach, would reference Gabe.
Yeah, he looks like an Andrew Tate fan. I said it.
He would always refer to him as Gorgeous Gabe. He couldn't help but refer to him as Gorgeous Gabe on the podcast.
I would call him Gorgeous Gabe.
He's a beautiful guy.
Yeah, he's got tattoos. He's large. He's tan.
I don't call him that. My wife doesn't call him that. If you have some unresolved sexual tension or fantasies, whatever the fuck it is, you need to keep that shit to yourself and not project it on other people. I wish the best to Gabe. Michael Briggs, on the other hand, absolute fucking creep weirdo. Now, I know a lot of this is very grotesque and obsessive. I would prefer if people didn't talk about me and my wife or other people in this way.
Okay, let's see.
I briefly want to talk about the concept of being a lolcow because these fucking losers.
Ethan's a lolcow, Destiny's a lolcow, Boogie's a lolcow, Keemstar's a lolcow. That's why I cannot believe Taylor Lorenz talked to Destiny. Girl, do not talk to lolcows. Do not talk to them. Honestly, I'm really struggling to see her the same. After everything that's come out, I don't get it. Why did you even entertain him as an intellectual? Why did you even talk to him? I didn't watch it. I just watched snippets, and so I gotta watch the whole thing. But like, I don't understand why she talked to him. How stupid! Like, I'm sorry. At this point, that's like, you might as well have collabed with Netanyahu because Destiny literally went to Israel to do propaganda for Israel. Make it make sense. Sorry.
Losers.
Oh my god.
They love the concept.
It's like, where are the values?
Of like labeling someone a lolcow and then like bullying them and watching their life spiral out of control. They won't, say as much. They'll just be like, yeah, we just do it for laughs. The whole thing's entertainment. It's just just innocent guys just having a laugh.
Chat said, I think she's under the impression she can reach their audience. Yeah, I used to think that too. And let me tell you, the worst people are in that audience. There's like, I've poached a few DDGers into my audience and they've been really great. But genuinely, like, you got to make good decisions about that decision, because I really thought that too. But I have never been in a worse community in my whole life. And yeah, shout out to the DDGers that are here. Right? Like, I love that, but like, not interested. You can find your way here in a different way than me putting myself there. And same with her. She should not put herself in that sphere. The misogyny, the harassment, the doxing, the stalking, it is literally unsafe. It's literally unsafe.
Thankfully.
And what's worse is she will convince other women to possibly feel safe in the space because she's there, and the women will go unsuspectingly. The man who recorded people's intimacy moments and shared them without their consent. The man who literally belittles, cluster Bs and mentally ill people, even though he definitely is. A person who literally abandons his own child and then blames everybody else for being bad parents. Like the person who's literally fighting with Ethan about who's more of a pedophile. What are you doing, Taylor? What are we doing?
Anissa and I are in a much safer and privileged position than many other people who are the targets of guys like this who want to bully them into submission. So now I want to look at two different clips from these guys. There is the fat one and his cohort who are listening to Anissa describe, like, essentially having a hard time online, seeing people mock.
Chet said, I wonder if she knew about his history. If she didn't, I think less of her. At this point, I would think less of her for not doing her research. Isn't she a journalist? At this point, he's facing a felony in Florida. What do you mean you didn't do your research before you talked to him? And the state of where he has been and the way that he's been shipped out by Israel to do propaganda for Israel, and she didn't do her research? No. Like, no excuses. Do you know what I'm saying? She literally is the person who should be held to the highest standard in terms of who she collaborates with. So she should know that a person who is paid by Israel to go to Israel and he told IOF soldiers, if you're gonna play with people's underwear and do bad shit, don't record it. That guy who's facing a felony in Florida. As far as I know, the case hasn't been finished. Oh, that guy? No.
And make fun of her dad with Alzheimer's.
They were laughing at my dad for getting sick on some of these forums. Like,
what did you think? What did you think? Because you shared it online?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's what people are going to do because they want to get a reaction out of you.
Yeah.
I don't think they probably even really believe the stuff that they're saying, but they know because it's extreme and like edgy that it will cause you mentally spiral like this. So that's why they do it. And you're telling them that it affects you. So guess what? They're going to keep doing it. This is how the internet works. It shouldn't be.
What's a lolcow? I like to think of a lolcow as somebody who people watch to get their like kind of like rocks off, like the shits and giggles. Like, they're not really being watched because they actually make good content or people like them. They're being watched because people want to laugh at them, because people see them as like the joke, like Boogie. Like, I can't tell you how many people I've met that I didn't even know watch I thought they were Destiny fans, and they're like, we're not Destiny fans. We watch him because he's a lolcow. And I was like, what? I thought you guys watched him because he was a debate dude. And they're like, no, we literally watch him because his life's a mess and everything's crazy and the guy can't get anything right. And I was like, oh, here I am thinking people are actually watching. Yeah, Nikocado Avocado is a good example too. Like, Nikocado Avocado, like all these people, like, there are people who literally stay invested in people on the internet because they want to see them fuck up. That's why And I didn't realize this when I was in, when I used to collab with Destiny. I didn't know this. That's why his audience would come in and start fights between me and him. Because that's what they wanted. They wanted to start fights. Like, his audience does not care about him. They are not invested in him. They want to see him fight other people. They actually are the reason he gets fed so much of the information. Reminds you of somebody else's audience, Ethan. That's why DGG was feeding Ethan all that information. They don't care about you. DGG literally wants to see you implode on the internet. That's how they get their rocks off. So if you're like a hardcore like DGGer, if you're like on Destiny's like private site and you're like in the chat logs with him, you're not a person who like is actually respected. Because your audience, if they respected you, would hold you to account. Your audience, if they wanted better for you, would actually hold you to account. And some people do. Some people leave Destiny's audience because of this. This is usually when they fall off. But if you've been a diehard Destiny fan for 10 years and you've never thought to hold him to account, you're not a fan. You're literally the worst thing for him. If you have a healthy audience, which we know I do, and my audience was like, hey, Britt, I think you missed the mark. Okay, I'm paying attention. Like, I'm locked in. Tell me what I did. And if I did, I did. You know what I'm saying? But when your audience is so, like, doesn't care about you, when Boogie's audience, Keemstar's audience, those people do not want good for you. They want to see you fuck up so they can laugh about somebody else's life because their life is so miserable. Okay?
But that's how it is.
The whole time, he is not saying that he is a perpetrator of bullying her. What he's saying is that other people are doing that. But he is doing it actively.
Exactly.
In this video, he is bullying Anissa. And in other videos, he's literally bullied and made fun of her dad who has Alzheimer's.
With a late stage dementia patient who is an extremist Muslim, and he sees his daughter covered in tattoos, married to iDubbbz the cuck, and he just freaks the f out. iDubbbz is having to take him on walks through the neighborhood, talk to this demented guy.
So this is something that he's very familiar with. But for some reason, in this moment, he refuses to take any ownership of the fact that he is part of the problem.
Like, that's what people...
Wait, Chad says, how does this guy have any fans after everything that came out about him? For the same reason Taylor Lorenz had the audacity to talk about him. It doesn't matter that I saw a comment that says, like, I saw it more as like an interview. Why is Destiny in the same sphere as somebody who's trying to be respected as a political commentator and journalist? Why are you allowed? That's how Trump gets elected, is you keep making this man equal to the people who are doing the work to stay respectable, but none of you are respectable in politics, and that's why politics sucks. That's why we do philosophy through pop culture here, because nobody in politics is actually a good person. You all fucking suck. You all fucking suck. Because the moment you're willing to touch dicks with fucking Destiny, do you know what I'm saying? Okay, like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, y'all are bad people. Because at the end of the day, like, there's nothing this man will do that will make you collab with him because you know he brings in views. That's Trump. You are willing to shake hands with Trump as long as it gets you views and money. And I'm saying, why? And now you want to lecture the Nelk bros for talking to Netanyahu? They're following you're doing the same thing. You just think you're better than them. And how? I'm done with these bubbles. I'm done. Ugh. And I just recommended Taylor Lorenz to people, and now I'm so angry. See, this is why I have a hard time recommending people to people. One day you recommend somebody, and the next day they're talking to Destiny. You're like, Jesus, fuck. Like, hello?
People are going to do because they want to get a reaction out of you. So that's why they do it. And you're telling them that it affects you.
He doesn't want to admit it, and it makes you wonder why. And we get a little window into that at the end of the clip.
This is how the internet works. It shouldn't be, but that's how it is.
It shouldn't be, but it does, because I participate in it.
He says in this moment, it shouldn't be. Why the fuck do you think he says it shouldn't be? Could that be because it's wrong and it's a mean, evil thing to do? To acknowledge that someone is suffering and deciding that you are going to attack them online continuously for the thing that they are, you know, either insecure or struggling with? It's plain as day that he's part of the problem, but he fucking refuses, like a coward does, to take any responsibility.
And by the way, the people who come for Ian's podcast with Anissa and say he gets no views, it probably gets no views because it's not controversial. The only reason you all stay so fucking viral is because you literally do the worst things on the internet, which, again, please watch my podcast talking about BPD. Does that make you a bad person? Your values do. Because Trisha Paytas and Brooke Schofield continue to utilize every viral, triggering, offensive fucking marketing ploy through capitalism to remain viral, and it works. And you guys make them millionaires. Not you guys, because you guys are smart and beautiful and introspective. But the internet makes them famous because they say the worst things ever. Ian was the most famous and the most rich when he was saying the most batshit fucking crazy shit on the internet. The fact that I know him as the N-word guy should tell you everything you should know. Okay? So at the end of the day, That's really what we should be paying attention to. The fact that his podcast now gets less views makes me respect him more, even though I have no respect for these men in general. But like, you know what I mean? But like, that's so when people say like, oh, you get no views. Yeah, but at least I go to sleep at night feeling good about my values. And also I pay my bills, so go fuck yourself. Like, they're so angry that we're paying our bills and not selling our souls. Well, at least I'm paying my bills. I don't know if Ian's paying his bills. I assume so.
For him being part of the problem. I don't think a lot of these commentary channels want to be held to a higher standard. I think they want to comment on the strategy of things, and they don't want to reveal too much of their own morals or principles. This next guy is the perfect example of what I'm describing. He is being very critical of me talking to a therapist. And by the way, that wasn't even a therapy session. I just happened to cry in that moment.
Woo-woo! Dr. Kirk Honda! Dr. Kirk Honda is such the sweetest being in the whole world. He's been incredibly kind to me over the last few years. He's so sweet. And I know when he got harassed by Ethan's viewers, he's like, okay, I don't want this. Whatever this is, I don't want it. He's so good faith. I was just talking about him to my partner this morning because I'm watching him review Queer Ultimatum. He's such a good faith person. He's so open. He's so balanced with how he gives openness and criticism that he genuinely gave Ethan the best advice ever. And Ethan just imploded on him. He gave the most reasonable, grounded advice to Ethan, and Ethan got him harassed. And this is why I say Dr. Kirk Honda is too good for the internet. He is like truly too good for the internet.
And I was like, this might be able to communicate authenticity, so I'll include it.
And then Ian goes on a podcast with a therapist and gets extremely real with him, which is a profoundly stupid idea. Like eating with your mouth full on camera. He of all people should know better than to go on a therapist's podcast and vent about his very real problems on a public forum like that, because people will use that information against him, like this.
This same person live streamed his own therapy session where he actually cried.
If you're gonna be a hater-ass bitch, take it the full way. Take responsibility for having the opinion that crying online is pathetic and weak. Don't say I am the enlightened centrist and other people are gonna make fun of you for that.
Because people will use that information against him.
People will use the information against me. Who's people? I'm pretty sure you're people.
Yeah, you're the people, stupid. That's what I'm saying. You're the people. You're the people. Now, if you don't recall, when Destiny and I had our falling out, a precursor to that falling out, after I called him out for being a cheater and he got mad at me, was we had a conversation about rape because I felt like his statements about rape were going to cause people to blame rape victims, which they did. And I got the DMs to prove it. Like, people were in my DMs. They were emailing me. You're the reason you got raped. You're at fault. You're traumatized because you were raped and that's your fault. Like, absolutely because of Destiny. And I knew that was going to happen. That's why I warned Destiny. And it was triggering. Okay. I had Dr. Kirk Honda on to talk about it. Right? And Destiny goes, so Dr. Kirk Honda proved my point. No, Dr. Kirk Honda did not prove your point. Dr. Kirk Honda is not saying what you are saying. It's like the language is so specific. The way we use language is so important. So for these men to be like, oh, don't you know people are going to mock you for having a therapy session online, which wasn't even therapy, and then they go on to mock Ian, is the point. That's the point. You're doing it. If that's what Destiny was doing. He said he didn't want to victim blame rape victims, but by putting out that content he was, which, look, I have been called out in the past for making content that in ways sounds like victim blaming, or maybe was. I've taken it down because they're right that ultimately if my language isn't clear enough that the audience takes away victim blaming, I've done a bad job. I have done a bad job if my audience hears me say something and thinks, oh yeah, we're going to blame the victim. Take down the video. Take it down. And that's what I was trying to say to Destiny. And that's what we're trying to say is like, you know, we're not going to, even if you have good intentions, the point is if your audience is harassing rape victims and blaming them for their rapes, you failed. Or maybe he did it. Maybe that's what he really wanted, which is the accusation I'm kind of making, because now that he's been caught red-handed with people's nudes and lewds and / intimate videos and sending them out to people without their consent, he's doubling down and saying it's not that big of a deal. You guys are blowing this out of proportion. To mention, by the way, that one of those people allegedly is 17. Allegedly, he has been reported to the police by Willie Mack for allegedly having nude video of a 17-year-old on his hard drive. Destiny admitted he had it. Okay? So just a reminder that this same man, okay, is trying to take the high road and say, like, you guys are blowing this out of proportion. We're not mad enough about it. So the fact that Taylor Lorenz had any kind of collab, put her name in association with this man, I'm sorry, she has a lack of judgment. That is a severe lack of judgment at this point. At this point, it might have been forgivable before all of the stuff came out. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she never saw anything. But how could she do it now with everything going on?
You're the one who's playing this fucking clip. You're the one who's making this video called the most toxic wife. I don't know why these fucking pussies don't accept the full troll mask. They're acting as if being sincere is impossible to do online. It's not impossible. It's difficult in the situation that Anissa and
Okay, I don't know why we're showing Joe Rogan, but okay.
I are in, but we're making that choice intentionally.
Wait, what an interesting group of men he showed. He just showed the most like, is he trying to appeal to the conservative men? He just showed Oh Brothers, and then he showed Theo Von, who just did a collaboration with fucking Trump, and then he showed Joe Rogan. He showed Trumpers. Is he appealing to the masculine, misogynistic boy bubble and saying like, look, even Trump voters cry?
Mask. They're acting as if being sincere is impossible to do online. It's not impossible. It's difficult in the situation that Anissa and I are in, but we're making that choice intentionally. So you making this bold claim that we are like unaware what happens when Anissa talks about her dad who has Alzheimer's or me crying.
Ugh.
Like we're very
That's fucking hard, bro.
aware that that is going to be viewed as gay and be made fun of by people like you. And now I'm going to react to a couple of these random creators who have made videos or statements about Anissa and I, just to give you a taste of what an average is. And additionally, like in making some of those videos, it just attracts a certain type of person where they're like, I'm going to list off a bunch of people I consider lolcows or people who are mentally like disabled. And I'm going to tell you to make fucking documentaries about them. And then in that case, like, I'm not fucking doing that. You're seeing that happen right now with World of T-shirts. There's a lot of people who think they're like doing it responsibly or respectfully. And it's just hell. It's just like, what the is any of this shit?
Bro, what is going on? Anissa legitimately convinced him his entire being as a person is bad.
Did I once say my entire being is bad? You're allowed to be critical of yourself and the content you're making. You would benefit from being a little critical of the content you're making. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, actually comment on what I was talking about. Do you agree or disagree with a statement that you should be making videos and documentaries about people who are mentally disabled because you are encouraged by your fan base to do so? Do you agree with that? Maybe engage with the prompt.
And fellas, and even fellettes, all right? Never, just listen up, all right? Never let your partner actually change you this much. Never let them convince you that you are so bad as a person, like everything you do, the way you act, everything you believe is bad, and you must agree to every—
Was Anissa with him during the N-word arc? You know what I'm saying? Women really uphold the patriarchy, let me tell you. Was Anissa with him during the, like, his worst? When did they get together? I mean, obviously people grow, so maybe they grew in a direction. They deconstructed together, maybe? Yeah, she was. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that's a big part of it. Like, obviously, if she was there and she was also edgy and they were edgy together, then they would also have to deconstruct together. Otherwise, they'd probably break up, right? So I can see that from other people's perspectives, they're like, whoa, you changed so much. It must be your wife. But the reality is that, like, if you're both changing and deconstructing, then you'd both be changing together. You can change. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You can change for the better. Okay? She played a part of the Tana content cop. Oh, okay. Okay. So then the hope is that they have deconstructed together in a direction, therefore they have changed, and therefore instead of blaming or seeing that Ian and Anissa are holding themselves accountable, they see it as a betrayal. That's why when Repsion said, Ian, you used to make great content, I was like, which content? Who content? Oh, you used to make great content. When? Which content? You know what I mean? It's like when people say that, when people talk about Ian, they talk about like, they have like a nostalgia brain or something, because I didn't watch Ian like that. I don't get it. Even with Ethan, who cares? Guys, people change. They're a piece of shit. Stop watching them. You know what I mean? So like people being like, Ian used to be like my favorite. I loved you. It's like, who cares, guys? At the end of the day, why are you crying over these men like this? You know, be disappointed, but move on. You know, at the end of the day, they're just like, this is what happens when people don't deconstruct, you know?
like their way of life, everything they do. Obviously,
why do you think that she thinks everything I do is bad? I'm like, man, these people have fucking drank the Kool-Aid to a disgusting degree.
Obviously, if there's legitimate criticism taken into account or whatever, but this is legitimately tragic. He cannot be proud of a single thing he's ever done in his entire life. He just feels guilty about all of it because of Anissa.
Dude, I'm proud of plenty of things. I'm not just going to go on stream and declare it. Like, what do you, like, it's so boring. Like, I don't want to talk about how proud I am of making the Airsoft Fatty documentary. Like, do you?
Well, maybe you should, so people know that you're allowed to be proud of some of your work. Maybe he is a little too self-negative. Maybe Ian is a little bit too negative, you know? I don't know that that's a good thing. I don't know that it's a good thing that he never gives himself credit for anything. I find it to be inspiring when I see people say, like, I did do good. I think it's important for us to say, like, yeah, I'm really proud of this work. I'm not so proud of this work. Like, guys, I'm really proud of my new BPD video. Please go see it on the podcast channel. You are not bad because you have BPD. It's your values. Go check it out on the podcast channel. I'm really proud of that video.
You guys really need me to fucking bloviate about how I really enjoyed following the narrative structure of a fatty battling with his friends in Battle Creek.
It was my opinion that some of your content in the past was actually good before. It was actually logical. You made some good points. You don't need to feel...
Oh, you used to be so logical. I loved when you said the N-word. That was my favorite part. Don't clip me. Ian, I really just loved it when you talked horribly about other racial minorities.
So bad about every single thing. You know, maybe you did some bad shit. You said some slurs. That shit was bad. Whatever.
Dude, I know. I just... This is so frustrating. I just want to say, like, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about are going to be upsetting, or they're going to be a downer to you, because that's interesting. I don't know if it's because I have a higher threshold. It kind of feels like I do, right? A lot of the things that these commentators are commenting on is they're saying, like, oh my gosh, that would crush me, basically, if my wife described me in that way or said that about me. And it's like, okay, it would hurt you.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, even we practice this on this channel. Guys, just because it'd be a nightmare for you doesn't mean it's a nightmare for them. It's good to know what'd be bad for you, but it doesn't mean it has to be a judgment of them, right?
You're feeling bad through me. You think that I'm feeling those same feelings that you're feeling.
Right.
I'm not.
A lot of, like, good shit to your content as well. You're legitimately, you know, fighting against, like, evil people and shit like that.
Because I'm sensing this guy as being his own version of sincere, because I honestly think, I don't know how old this guy is, but I'm going to say a teenager.
Like 21. He does not look like a teenager. Is he? Maybe. He could be like 19 to 21.
Age commentary YouTuber. I'm going to say that their version of sincere is going to look very different than mine.
Sure.
I'll take what I can get right now from this guy. When I'm giving my actual authentic take about something, you don't need to put the blame on my wife. You don't need to say that she's controlling me. This is very off base. People who are in relationships, they communicate, they talk. This is just the reality of getting in a relationship and becoming more enmeshed. Like, it happens. You know, if we eventually have a kid together, like, it's very important that we're on the same page. And
enmesh is a very interesting word, since psychologically enmeshment is not the greatest. But enmeshed, I assume he means non-clinically. And he means, like, almost like become one, but not like in the psychological enmeshment way, meaning to, like, see yourself in others in a way where you lose your identity, but instead in sort of a cohesive team-like way. Like, I always say I'm on a team with my partner, but we're not codependent, you know, like, because you want to be interdependent, you don't want to be codependent, right?
We communicate. I know it might feel like you have some outsider insight, but it is just very wrong. I feel very free to...
Tectone, accused by his ex of rape and assault and abuse. His father raped people so brutally the military had to kick him out and create a new rule around it. Yeah, that Tectone? Cool.
Speak my truth. Yeah, I agree, Bri.
Do you want to know why this shit makes me so mad? Because there was a point in time back in OnlyFans season 1 where I was like, dude, iDubbbz is the fucking man. Such a chill guy. So down to earth. Loved meeting him in real life. Loved playing games with him. This guy was the fucking man.
I think Tectone is remembering this in a kind of a weird way. It seems like he's very nostalgic and happy about it. He's being very over the top of how epic I was. But by this time, everyone had, like, decided that Anissa controls my life and that I'm a beta male soy cuckboy. So it actually is very funny that he's coming out now saying, like, man, he was the man just 2 years ago. It's like, dude, the fucking cat was out of the bag 2 years ago. Also, it's weird because I didn't play games with him other than we were in the same guild. I don't know. I think he's just trying to add on to this narrative that the internet likes of, man.
See, this is the thing Ethan does too, where Ethan's like, we were best friends. And Ian's like, I mean, we were friends, kind of. Like, the internet does this. They make everything bigger and closer than it was. We were so close. We were so this. Oh my gosh. And I was thinking about this today because I was thinking about, I saw that on Reddit, People were talking about me talking about Contra and Lindsay. Guys, the reason I'm willing to say things publicly about Contra and Lindsay is because like we're not friends. They're just some YouTubers that I met at a short time and we had some weird overlap. Like, you know, we had some from the outside social situations that look like closeness, like staying at Natalie's house while I was on a trip looks like closeness, but we weren't. People that I've actually had falling out with in my personal life that happen to be YouTubers because there was mental health issues or family issues or something, I never talk about them. I never make content about people. I don't make content about real people because like this is my job. So like that's what the internet has to understand. I know so many YouTubers. I could have made so much content, but I won't because I respect them as people. And we had a real something, a real friendship, a real connection. And like, if we move on from each other, I'm not going to make a video about it. But if you're strangers on the internet, if we had beef, if I'm holding you accountable because you're basically like siding with a genocide, yeah, girl, I'm going to tell people what you did. You know what I mean? That's what people don't understand. Now, if somebody in my personal life wants to make a video, I will come with the receipts. But that's the point. We don't. It's not like people from my real life are coming to the internet to talk about Brittany. It's people on the internet I barely know who are like, I knew her for 2 seconds and I have stuff. Yeah, fine, say it. But at least I can either regret, unlike Ethan, what I've done, or be like, that's not true. Give me the receipts. Because that's the problem is Ethan did all of these horrible things the last 15 years and goes, I don't regret it. What is up with these men hating men who regret? So Ian says, hey, I regret the content I did. And people go, pussy, what cock? You're being abused by your girl. It's like, God forbid a man regret his bad decisions, you know?
He used to be so awesome. He was so cool. And then he fucking got corrupted by that fucking bitch.
He was one of my favorite content creators of all time.
Oh, please. And lies, bullshit. Nobody watches anybody's content unless you're autistic like me. I'm the only autistic bitch that watches anybody's actual content. Because every time I talk to a content creator, they're like, oh, I haven't had a chance to watch your videos. No way Tectone was truly a fan. And if he was, who cares? You were a fan of a different Ian. You weren't a fan of the Ian that exists now, which is all that matters. You were a fan of a different Ian, right? That's the problem. Ooh, shut up, big nose. I bet you can smell iDubbbz from where you are. I'm going to block this person. Guys, if you want to pay my bills and come into chat and say shitty things and then I can block you, you can do that. But PS, to haters on the internet, you pay our bills. That's the reality. That's why people get sucked into making content that makes the haters come to their chat. That's why lolcows make money because they would rather make money from haters than none at all. But at the end of the day, like I'm happy to take some haters' attention, but ultimately there's a reason my chat is so nice. The reason my content doesn't attract haters is because it's too good. Do you know what I mean? So again, like shout out to my chat because you guys know you always get complimented. Hot new people always come in and go, why is Brittany's chat so good? Because they're good people. Because they're good people.
To see that this is what he became. I mean, this guy inspired me to do content. Like my breakdowns on people's entire character was inspired by iDubbbz. And it's so lame. Like to see what one woman's pussy and Hassan can do to a motherfucker.
What one woman's pussy and what Hassan can do to a motherfucker. This is all they have. What did Ethan tell Taylor Lorenz? Hassan will never fuck you. These people are gross. These people are disgusting.
Is insane to me. And if he just would have remained true to himself, he wouldn't have ended up.
But by the way, what have I lectured progressives about? What have I lectured anti-Ethan people about? Stop blaming Gila for Ethan's bad decisions. Your misogyny is showing. Stop blaming this woman for Ethan's grown-up decisions, right? See how they do that and you don't like it? Don't do it to Ethan. Let this man rot in his own bad decisions. And also, Hila and him are so compatible. That's why they're still together, right? So like, okay, she has her own accountability to be held for, but do not say, oh, Ethan wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for Hila. Oh, Ian wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for Anissa. Let these men be held accountable for their own actions, okay? Camilla, membership for 8 months, says, why is Brittany's chat so good? Because you guys are so good. That's why.
This husk of a man he is today and probably would have way more viewers and wouldn't having to be making content that he hates for money. It's just...
This is such fucking cope, man. Like, hearing Tectone say it, it's just like, it's reminding me how many times I've heard this fucking script. These people cannot fathom that the based epic N-word guy has changed his mind over time. It's got to be a woman's pussy or Hassan. I think
exactly.
if they accept that I came to that decision on my own, they have to reckon with some demons of their own. Like it's hard to accept the fact that I've taken this journey and it's not one I regret. It's actually one that I've felt better after doing.
And by the way, like Tectone has a very interesting time with the internet because I did watch him for a time because I watch literally, guys, special interest. I watch everybody just to see what's going on the internet. And there was a time when I was like, okay, I can see why like people really like Tectone. There's like a warmth to him. Tectone is a really weird person. He was literally homeless because he was addicted to gacha games, got so in debt, he also became kind of famous for it on the internet, and then now has a bill of $25,000 a month in order to pay off his lifestyle. So he always tries to like basically create as much controversy around himself as possible to stay relevant, to make money. So like he'll be on podcasts with Emaru and Aspen, which I have so many opinions about Emaru, collabing with these horrible men. Okay. Anyways, that's a whole other conversation. That like he'll say, "Oh, I'm running out of money, so I gotta do like a marathon stream," and then the marathon stream will make like 50K. Like these men are so used to just popping on the internet saying the most abhorrent fucking shit, and boom, making 50K. You know what I'm saying? It is interesting. Now, is Tectone still on Twitch? Because I will just say this: I think it's really interesting that Twitch got rid of Destiny, which they should have, but haven't got rid of Tectone. Tectone. Feels really weird. A little bit. But see, there's this whole idea, right, that we don't know the rules of these platforms, and we don't. We don't know the rules of these platforms, and we are all susceptible to it. Guys, subscribe for free to my Patreon just to keep tabs on where I am in case, who knows, I wake up one day and YouTube doesn't exist for me. Because, you know, nothing is permanent. But, you know, you just never know why platforms keep certain people but not others. Like, both are sexual deviants. Both have been accused of assault. Both have been accused of things, you know, in some aspect or another, right? I guess Destiny was accused of, I mean, I think by definition, by some people's definition, it'd be considered like some form of like assault, emotional assault. I don't even know what to claim. Like, how are you supposed to fathom that you are being recorded during the most intimate moments of your life, and then you don't even know you're being recorded, men and women, and then you see it in somebody's online post because it got leaked? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you call that? What do you call that? How does that not feel like you've been violated? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Tectone is right. This guy is such a disappointment. Like, iDubbbz calling people incels when the first woman he met literally destroyed, like, took over his life and destroyed him, dude.
I don't
Oh, Chad said, I think Tectone is banned. Really? Where does he stream? Kick, probably?
know if this is your own theory or if it's just like implanted in your brain from all the other hate videos, but Anissa is not the first person or not the first woman I've met. I've met plenty of other women. She's certainly not the first.
It says he's on Twitch with 1 million followers.
Woman I've dated, and certainly not the first woman I've had sex with. But I will admit that she's the first woman I married. Also, there are a lot of grown men out there who were outraged to find out that I changed my last name from Washburn to Jama when I married Anissa.
Who took his wife's last name, taking Anissa's last name, taking your wife's last name.
He's taken her last name.
His last.
The misogyny. Is that Sam Hyde? Go fuck yourself, huh? Who cares? So?
Name?
The last name, the story. Okay. Oh, yeah, there's so many. I forgot.
I think some of these people think I'm trying to push a woke agenda or some shit, but I don't give a fuck what anyone does with their own last names. This is what I chose to do because I like her last name better.
What? That's it? You're mad he took her last name? This is what I'm saying. You're a misogynist. Why would it matter whose name they have? Unless you literally think women are less. All these men who think they've deconstructed their misogyny. That's why when the H3 subreddit was mad at me, I was like, thank you. Because they're like, Brittany's a misandrist. She hates Ethan Klein because he's a man. I hate Ethan Klein's opinions because they're bad. He's literally a misogynist. Who cares that he has her last name? Well,
when my rancid boxing coach and his wife decided to go on the H3 podcast as like this mutual exchange of talking shit about Anissa and I in exchange for $5,000, that was sort of under the premise that I owed them some sort of bonus money.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were also promised a bonus on CC1 and we never got it. But because Michael was so nice, he didn't want to like make Ian feel uncomfortable and ask Ian and Anissa about it.
And I was always under the assumption that there was no bonus because even though he told me there was a bonus, he then disappeared for 6 months and I never saw him. So I was like, was there a bonus or was there not a bonus?
There was never a bonus. I never spoke to these losers about a bonus. I was paying these people an hourly rate to do the job that I asked for them to do, and they got paid. This fucking loser with the beard got paid $32,000 for training an influencer to box, and she got paid $9,000 to film some of it. They conveniently never talked to either one of us about it.
You confronted about that? You asked them, or you didn't want to?
No, I just let it be.
I'm the same.
They conveniently don't have any text messages or emails or contracts that have anything to do with bonus money because that conversation didn't happen. They're lying to Ethan and his crew.
So like $40,000, but they're like, where's my bonus?
And they're lying to the audience.
How is it that we put on this great event, we raised $1.3 million for charity, and he promised us a bonus, and then right after the event, he just kind of pretend like he's too busy to check in with us.
Too busy to check in with you? I don't need to fucking check in with you. You're not my parents. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You weren't promised a bonus. I was doing my own shit. Why the fuck would I want to spend my time with you when I'm filming a show with Dax Flame? You guys are fucking losers.
You confronted about that? You asked them, or you didn't want to?
No, I just let it be.
I'm the same.
If it was promised to you, if this imaginary bonus was promised to you, that should give you a lot of confidence to at least say, bonus? That's potentially a lot of money for you, you know, in this fictional scenario where you were promised a bonus. Surely it makes sense to at least inquire.
Yeah, that feels weird not to be like, hey, Ian, now that our time together is coming to an end, just want to make sure we've wrapped up all the loose ends. I know in the past you mentioned a bonus. I wasn't sure if that was still on the table. Please let me know. Thanks for everything. Great working with you. Boom, there, done. Ooh, who can write an email? This girl. Who can write a text message? This girl. That was good, bro.
Wire if it was promised to you, right? Because I'd been consistently paying you day after day for all the work you were doing. So if I never missed a payment for you and your wife and a bonus was promised at some point, then don't you think it would be pretty fucking obvious and apparent that you should text me, hey, what about that bonus? Of course, but there was no bonus because you're fucking lying. Like, fuck these crooked people. They came on this podcast. They used this bonus thing as some sort of like weird exchange of like, yeah, we can't go on the podcast and just talk blatant shit about our clients. So what we're instead going to do is pretend like we were stiffed by our clients after they promised us a windfall of cash. There's so many other truthful things that they could have focused on the podcast that would have made me look like a bitch to a certain, you know, sector of the internet. One of those things being me crying after a tough sparring session. Like, that's truthful.
Did you say he cried?
Oh, we had to have a meeting.
Yeah, so after that, so
Ugh. These people are gross. They definitely love Andrew Tate.
he was crying at the gym.
It's okay to cry, but it's not okay for him to cry. Now, to the crew of the H3 podcast, I have something important to say. I think you are all pieces of shit. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this episode of iDubbbz Complains. If you want to...
Ian! I mean, it's true. They're basically standing complicit in Ethan's bullshit now. I don't want to hear anything about their jobs, their resources, their money. They can't get another job. They have a crazy good resume now. If they genuinely can't get a job in their field and they're literally tied to Ethan for life, they're bad at business. If you have literally tied your ship to Ethan's for the rest of your career, you're bad at business. You have got to diversify your resume, guys. You cannot tie your boat to Ethan's. What if it sinks one day? Hello? So I'm telling you, if you have not building up your resume, you have not been networking, you have not been building up a good reputation for yourself, probably not now that you've been staying with Ethan. And I know, oh shoot, Olivia, I know Olivia is taking a break for mental health, which is good. I'm glad she's done. I'm glad Olivia made the decision to take a break for her mental health. I wish Ethan would follow suit. Okay, but yeah, I don't want to hear anything about the crew being victims of the circumstance. It's been like 2 years. I'm over it.
hear me complaining live in your ears, particularly today, if you're watching this video the day it comes out, go and check out my Twitch live stream. I'll put a link in the description.
Also, I don't want to compare this to BDSM, but it is literally the same. Chat said I competed in MMA before I came out, and crying after a hard sparring session happened a lot. It's emotional. BDSM was the same way. Your skydiving was the same way. When I would do high adrenaline things that I put my body through, things that were emotionally entangled, yeah, you would cry after, and it would feel awesome. Okay? You cry. Like, this is the part that people don't understand. Like, crying, you can cry from happiness, sadness, adrenaline. You can cry for so many reasons. You know what I mean? Like, people have got to understand, like, crying is a bodily function. I don't know why you guys are being so weird about it.
I am going to be reacting to the H3 podcast where my rat coach and his rat wife are being nasty rats together. So go give it a watch, give it a listen. And I'll, probably for the rest of this month, I will be reacting to shit and, I don't know, fucking stirring the pot. So thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.
Wow, amazing. All right, love that.